when the smallest stood tall. Sometimes the biggest battles are won by the ones no one believes in. In a world where size often matters, the story of David and Goliath reminds us that true strength comes from within. This tale isn't just a story of a small shepherd facing a giant. It's about courage, faith, and stepping up when it matters most. Let's dive into how a young shepherd found the bravery to challenge a feared warrior, and how this moment has inspired countless people throughout history to face their own giants. The fear of the Israelite army. Picture this. The Israelite army was camped on one side of a valley, frozen with fear. On the opposite side stood Goliath, a giant warrior towering over everyone. Imagine a man over 9 feet tall. Day after day, he mocked the Israelites, taunting them and challenging them to send out a fighter. No soldier dared to accept. The atmosphere was thick with fear and hopelessness. Soldiers murmured anxiously, their confidence shattered at the sight of such a formidable opponent. The weight of their despair lingered heavy like a dark cloud over their camp. In this moment of fear, it seemed like victory would never be theirs, and the Israelites were left feeling helpless. Introducing David. Enter David, a young shepherd who spent his days tending to sheep rather than weapons. He was the youngest in his family, often overlooked. People saw a small, mild-mannered boy, not a warrior, but David carried something far more powerful, an unwavering faith in God. While others trembled in fear, he had a heart full of courage and confidence. God had prepared him, teaching him to face the bears and lions threatening his flock. David's gentle spirit and quiet resolve were about to challenge the prevailing notion that only the strong could conquer giants. David's decision to fight. The moment came when David heard Goliath's defiant cries. Instead of cowering, he felt a fire ignite within him. Why isn't anyone fighting this man? He wondered. Fueled by a desire to protect his people and defend God's honor, David stepped forward. His brothers scorned him, telling him to go back to his sheep. But David stood firm, explaining that God, who had saved him from wild animals, would also save him from Goliath. It was a reckless move, some might say. For David, it was an act of bravery born from his deep conviction. In that moment, he became a symbol of hope, embodying the belief that anyone, regardless of their size or experience, can make a difference when they have purpose and faith in their heart. The encounter with Goliath. As David approached the battlefield, Goliath couldn't help but scoff at the sight of this young boy. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" Goliath roared, his voice booming across the valley. But David was undaunted. He replied with a calm confidence that surprised everyone, including the giant. He proclaimed that while Goliath came with sword and armor, he came in the name of the Lord Almighty. This bold declaration turned the tide. David wasn't just fighting Goliath physically, he was standing up for something greater. Before the battle started, David chose 5 smooth stones from a nearby stream, armed only with his sling and his faith. The contrast was stark. On one side, a heavily armed giant, on the other, a small boy with nothing but a sling and a promise. The moment of action. Then came the climax. David stood firm as Goliath charged toward him, confident he would make quick work of this challenger. With a steady hand, David placed a stone in his sling, his heart racing not from fear, but from determination. He swung the sling with all his might, releasing the stone with precision. Time seemed to slow as it flew through the air, striking Goliath right in the forehead. The giant stumbled and fell, crashing to the ground with a thud. In that one moment, everything changed. David's faith became the weapon that defeated the fiercest of foes. The aftermath and message of the story. When Goliath fell, the Israelite army erupted with cheers. Fear turned to jubilation as they realized victory was theirs. David's triumph sent a powerful message. It's not about how big or strong you are. It's about what you believe in and the courage to stand up for it. This moment became a turning point, not just for Israel, but for countless people throughout history facing their own giants. Every time we stand up to our fears, we echo David's bravery, reminding ourselves that faith can conquer the impossible. It's about recognizing that we each have the power to overcome challenges. So, as we wrap up this incredible story, remember that you don't have to be the biggest, the loudest, or the strongest to make an impact. All it takes is belief and a heart full of courage. Think about the giants you face in your life today. What fears hold you back? Let David's story inspire you to take that first step. Be brave enough to step forward, because when faith stands tall, giants fall. Share this message with others and encourage them to find hope and strength within themselves too. You have the power to make a difference, so let's rise together.